Well, Star Wars is dead. Pack it up, pack it in.
I came to win, battle me, that's a sin.
Hey everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thanks for stopping by. If you've been a Star Wars Skeleton Crew and more, hit that subscribe button because we love talking about it all the time here on the channel. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I have to admit, Star Wars has been in a rocky place the last couple of years, especially this year with the passing of the Acolyte and the passing of the Acolyte. R.I.P. Like just all of that. You know, the fandom obviously and the great divide. But you know, you separate yourself from the fandom, from all of that, and you just watch Star Wars for what it is, and I find most of it to be very entertaining, and I don't worry about what anybody has to say. I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. It's not all perfect. I don't paint it all as rainbows. It is what it is. But Skeleton Crew is one. I went in optimistic. I wouldn't say I had high hopes for it, but I thought the potential was there for something fun. And then the first two episodes hit last Monday night, and I thought it was a great time. It was a fun adventure, a kid's show. You know, they said it was going to be 80s emblem, and it totally was. They've said this about other things, right? Like John Watts did Spider-Man Homecoming, and they're like, it's like a John Hughes movie. And I watched Spider-Man Homecoming, and I've watched a lot of John Hughes movies. And Spider-Man Homecoming, it's a good movie, but it's no John Hughes movie, not at all. But this was exactly as it was sold. Whereas, like, Acolyte was sold on this is like the birth, the Sith are going to be in the shadows and doing blah, blah, blah. And we're going to see the dark side and the Jedi and falling. And there was twins doing twin things under a tree. And I was like, not what you told me I was getting. Whereas this is exactly what they told us we were getting. Now, here's where the pause for concern comes in. The ratings, unofficial ratings, have been released via Variety and whatnot. And this is coming from Luminate. And Luminate has their top 10 streaming series of the week. But it's week ending December 5th. So the ratings go from November 29th to December 5th. The show was released on December 2nd, meaning the ratings are only going to be calculated from Monday, December 2nd, Tuesday, December 3rd, and Wednesday, December 4th. Those are the only days that they're going to have to use for this rankings right now. It's not in the top 10. So Skeleton Crew did not rank in the top 10, whereas the Acolyte did rank in the top 10. And that's the cause for concern, is the Acolyte was in the top 10 and then it dropped off. And if Skeleton Crew is not even in the top 10 and it just drops off, what's going to happen? So I want to talk a little bit about this and why it's not all doom and gloom, why it's not going to be a positive spin on it necessarily. But first of all, you've only got a couple days of data there. So by the time it catches up, maybe those numbers are up. Maybe people were watching on the weekend, maybe the Friday. I still think Star Wars thrived on Friday releases, but they released it on a Monday. It was Cyber Monday after the long weekend of American Thanksgiving. We don't get that here, but on Thanksgiving, people watched it. Or they didn't watch it. Maybe they waited a little bit to watch it, and maybe they just weren't in the mood because maybe the Acolyte and the other things took away the interest people had in Star Wars, and they don't feel like they need to watch it right away. And maybe there's a wait and see approach to this series. The other thing too, from what I would say, is Book of Boba Fett, Acolyte, Mandalorian season 3, even Obi-Wan for sure. And someone Andor, they were all, for me, binge shows. These were shows that should have been dropped Netflix style all at once. And we watched as one big long series, almost like a super long movie, because that's what they were. They were just one story. And sometimes it felt like the episodes just cut off in the middle of a story. And you're like, what just happened? What just happened here? And I think that's a mistake. But I think people also recognize that now. And like, you know what? I'm going to wait till the whole thing drops. I know quite a few people that do that. I don't, but I know quite a few people that say, I'm just going to wait. You know, it's 8 episodes, it's 8 weeks. I can wait 2 months to watch this show. I haven't really been that happy with Star Wars anyway. Or I'll wait and see what the critics say. I'll wait and see what my friend says. I'll wait and see what Rotten Tomatoes says. There's all these aspects of it because Star Wars isn't in such a great place. It's not the king of the castle. I did a video on this a little while ago. It needs, like, Star Wars should be the top of the hill. It should be the king of the kingdom. MCU, Marvel definitely took that over, but Star Wars should be right there, and it's not. It's dropped. Although DC is going to take that soon. I mean, I think it has now with Penguin and Batman and maybe Creature Command, but I think it is. And when Superman comes out, I think it's going to surpass Star Wars big time. Star Wars needs a hit. I think the show's a lot of fun, though. I think what it has going for it so far is that it is a fun show, and I have seen people who have been pretty down on Disney Star Wars say, yeah, it's not a bad show. It's maybe not for them because they're adults, it might be for kids, but they're recognizing that the quality is there. There seems to be a care there as well. Like, this is what you go into Star Wars for, especially if you're of a certain age. And so I think that's going to help it in the long run. Now, whether or not you can get kids on board with it, that's another story, because I don't know if Star Wars is too far gone or not. Like, I don't know if kids will ever come back on that train, if it's going to take a while. I don't think Skeleton Crew is the only thing that's going to do it, but will they be interested enough to watch it and continue to watch it? Now, the big question is, what's episode 3 coming? That's coming out tomorrow night. Will episode 3 hit? Is it going to hit, or is it going to do what episode 3 did for The Acolyte, and that's lose viewers? I thought episode 3 of The Acolyte was abysmal, to put it mildly. I just did not care for that episode. I was like, what the frick is going on here? I don't like it. Was that witch episode. There were ideas in the episode that I was like, okay, I like the ideas, but the execution I just thought was flawed and pretty brutal from start to finish. And after that, the ratings they tanked after that. They never really found their way back up. Final episode, the finale, kind of got back in the top 10, but by then they had lost their viewers. Their viewers were gone. People lost faith in the show. And I think a large portion of fans lost faith in the brand. I think the Star Wars brand, after that episode of The Acolyte and after The Acolyte as a whole, fans lost faith. Like, look, I like some of these shows, but I'm going to just call them what they were. Boba Fett, people, was a massive disappointment for a lot of people. Mandalorian Season 3 was a massive disappointment for a lot of people. Obi-Wan Kenobi, massive disappointment for a lot of people. Acolyte, massive disappointment for a lot of people. Am I forgetting anything? Andor's, I think, was... It's so 50-50, that one. I think it's a beautiful... I thought it was like a really strong show, but I think some people were turned off by it. They found it boring, whatever. I don't think... It wasn't a bad show. I don't think anyone's ever called it a bad show. I think boring is more what people say, or not too Star Wars. So Andor, I'll give Andor the pass on this one, but the rest of those series, people were very, very disappointed by them. And we have all that buildup, and now you have another one coming out right away, and you're like... And it's Skeleton Crew, and the thing with Skeleton Crew is there was barely any marketing for it. Like, it was nowhere until like a month or two after The Acolyte was gone. I think it was the Acolyte got canceled. Then we started seeing Skeleton Crew stuff. So no marketing. Nobody knows what to expect. It looks like a fun adventure, like I said, and it is a fun adventure, but it's inconsequential to anything else, right? Like, why am I going to watch this? I think this would be a strong movie. If this was the next Star Wars movie and it was building to things, I think it would have a lot of excitement geared towards it. But because it is just this series, people are like, well, why am I going to waste my time watching this series that's not about anything that's going to have any consequences on anything else that's going to happen in the Star Wars universe? This just seems like a fun little story about kids with Jude Law going on an adventure. Hard pass when you have these other shows that made the top 10. Madness on Netflix, Landman on Paramount Plus, Cold Case Who Killed John Benet Ramsey, Lioness on Paramount Plus, A Man on the Inside, Cross, and it goes on and on and on. These are shows that people are invested in. Some of them are multiple seasons, some of them are season 1. People are already invested. They're going to go and watch it. Where Skeleton Crew, you feel like it's a dead end, and maybe you're not sticking up for it, you're not going to watch it right through. And like I said, maybe those people, if they start hearing, if word of mouth is good, if episode 3 is good and word of mouth gets there, maybe, just maybe, people go, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. They might still wait till the end. I'm really curious. I don't know what the Acolyte numbers were after it was all said and done. Like the final, like if anybody went back and watched it binge. I got to say, it's also really friggin' weird to me that I'm getting more Acolyte ads on Instagram than Skeleton Crew. I'm getting more Acolyte ads than Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew's out right now. They should want me to watch it, but instead, for some reason, they're telling me to go check out Acolyte. I'm like, I've seen it. I'd rather go watch this one that you're not telling me about. So I think there's some hurdles for Skeleton Crew. The execs apparently at Disney want a second season if it's successful, but they made it as a standalone series, as a limited series, and I hope that kind of maintains that and we keep it like that. I'd love to see what happens with Jude Law at the end. I have my suspicions. You could check out my video on him on this channel. I'm really excited for episode 3, though. Some people have seen it. Some critics, some pundits have seen episode 3, and they're saying it's a good time. It continues to be a good time. I can't wait to see what happens here. I can't wait to see the adventure that the kids go on with Jude Law. And I've just got to say, like, these numbers, I know people are panicking over them, and it's not good for Star Wars, but they're not going to cancel the show, episode 3. It's going to run its course. It might get canceled after, but it's going to run its course. And I say, let's watch it. Let's give it a shot. If it's good, tell your friends. If it sucks, then it sucks. What are you going to do? You can't do anything about it. For me right now, though, I'm enjoying the ride. Again, though, these numbers are incomplete for Skeleton Crew, right? It's not the full week. It's only a couple days to judge. Now, I don't suspect it would have broken the top 10 anyway because there's such stiff competition out there this time of the year. Whereas the Acolyte was a little bit softer time of the year. So that also poses the question, does it have more views than the Acolyte but is lower on the ratings? Or does it have less views than Acolyte, which could be a problem. But if it is a solid show, I can imagine those ratings going up each week, and the finale, especially if it is a really good series, that finale, people are going to tune in and watch. And that's when I would really judge it on the ratings, is towards the end, because these series, I think Skeleton Crew, they did it better than they have since Mandalorian season 2, and or maybe Andor, about doing it as individual episodes, as an episodic series, as opposed to the binge watching formula. But people who watch binge start watching things, they watch them to binge, and maybe they're not here for this, and maybe they're not. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you liking Skeleton Crew? Are you watching it, or are you not watching it and you're going to wait till the end to watch it all at once? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe. Until next time, may the force of others be with you.